Good morning. Easter's coming really soon. Yeah, Easter Sunday. Oh boy. Are you ready to hear a sermon from somebody who's not a preacher? Since Tinashe Peter has taken the week off for intensive Bible study and reflection and meditation, yay for Tinashe Peter, you should support him. You don't know him? He's on YouTube. Yeah. Well, I have to start out with a personal thing. So, for people who don't care about other people and what's going on in their lives, you can definitely just not listen. You're right, I don't care. I know somebody like that, and they're not kidding when they say that. They actually do not care. That doesn't mean that God doesn't care about them. And that doesn't mean that you should stop caring about them, but stop. You have to start praying more strategically for people like this. They consider themselves to be Christians, and yet they don't care about certain people. I just don't care. I don't care. They can go to hell. I don't care. Right? You can't be a Christian and have hatred in your heart for your fellow human being. You can hate the sin. And I'm not going to say I have affection for this person. They're a horrible person, but I'm praying that all I can do is pray. But I'm not their judge, because I know where the unbelieving and the disobedient go after their time on earth is over, after their mortal coil has been shuffled off, as Shakespeare said. I know where they're going. Okay? Now, heaven is going to be established on earth, but not through murdering a bunch of Jews or something, like some people's religions say, yeah, we're gonna they're expecting a Messiah of sorts. Okay. Well, if we just kill a bunch of people, then the Messiah will have to come back. And he's going to kill all the pigs, first of all. Like, what's your beef with pigs? Oh, no pun intended. Pork is an unhealthy meat, but pigs are nice creatures. I like pigs. Some can be good pets, You want to kill all the dogs, too? All the dogs! Even Jesus used idioms where he's referring in a disparaging way to human beings as, dogs. Because that's Middle Eastern. A dog is like, ugh, beneath contempt. But dogs are so nice. I don't have a dog, but I used to have dogs when I was a little girl. They're nice, but they're kind of gross. Really, they eat cat poop. If you had a human friend that did what your animal friends do, you would say, I don't think I want to be associated with you. You are disgusting. You eat poop. But dogs eat cat poop. It's like candy to them. It's like Tootsie Rolls to them. I know, because my dog, whenever it could get to the cats, okay, shut up. We don't want to hear about it anymore. Okay, I'm sorry. So there's a difference between human beings and animals. We don't judge animals. Those vicious poodles, they just keep killing people. Oh no, it's pit bulls, not poodles. Oh, don't you get me started on that. I'm chewing. You have this bizarre, worshipful attitude toward a particular species of animal. You are not quite right. There is something wrong with you. That you care more about animals. You idolize animals. Some people idolize pit bulls. They're fine, just keep them away from me. Pastor Rick Renner, a few weeks ago, before I left an unkind comment, I said, your prayer line wasn't open when I really needed you, so I'm not listening to you anymore, basically. That's what I said. You are the person that does that. I am the person that does that. But he's over there in Russia serving, and great, whatever. Go on a cruise. Excuse me, but anybody that goes on cruises, they're a little bit okay. My My healthy Christian skepticism is showing. Would you like to cruise through the Holy Land? And you got to pay. You're paying for these pastors to have a vacation. I just don't think you're serious if you're taking people on cruises. So I'm backing off of another person that does cruises. Okay. It's not time to be taking cruises. I mean, this is a time, this is a serious time. We're having anarchists. They started over in England and now it's come over here in Los Angeles. It's coming. There's no king's crap. No king but Christ, yeah, absolutely. But they don't mean no kings, they mean no authority whatsoever. They mean civil disorder. But there is somebody that loves that wants to be in charge, once the existing order is overturned. Do you understand that? But I guess I just want to make this message about Joseph Prince. I'm just going to try to cut it short a little bit. I was trying to explain to a loved one. Every time you try to explain, every time you try to implore, oh, will you please listen to his sermons? He's on TCT, which is Total Christian Television. I think that's what it stands for. It's a free app. You can get it on your Android phone or device. Not necessarily on every smart TV. Not every smart TV gives you access to that app. But it is on Roku. So get that TCT. But Joseph Prince, he is such a scholarly pastor. But he's overflowing with grace. As some people shy away from grace, they think, grace. Whatever, yeah, that's part of it. It's part of God's toolkit or toolbox. No, without grace, you wouldn't be saved. You don't understand. God didn't have to do that. He didn't have to send his son. He didn't have to save the human beings after Adam sinned. It's very confusing. If he knew he would sin, why did he set him up for a fall, But who are we to say to God, why'd you do this? We're not God. It's enough to be his children, really. Yeah, it's enough to be his friend. Because what a friend we have in Jesus. But I was reasoning, just trying to implore this person, please watch Joseph Prince. Please do it, because that's what's missing. That's why you're so judgmental. And in fact, it's not apparent to me that you're not receiving grace for yourself. God knows. Because if you can't give grace, if you can't extend grace, then you have not received it. Outwardly, it seems like you're very confident. I'm going to heaven. After all, most people think very well of me. Are people's decisions going to matter, or their opinions going to matter on the day when God separates the sheep from the goats? Some people say Judgment Day. I guess Les Feldick would say, Christians don't have a Judgment Day. We're raptured. And we're not judged. So some of this stuff is a little bit confusing. But there definitely is going to be Jesus separating the sheep from the goats, some for everlasting life, that would be the sheep, and some are going to go to everlasting punishment and torment, right? I mean, it's terrible. If people really knew, we're trying to warn them, if they really, really knew what was in store for them for eternity, they would really try to read the Bible, listen to a really good Bible preacher like Joseph Prince. I'm sorry. Also, Les Feldick. And also Derek Prince, right? I don't want to just pick one person and say they know everything. Pastor Alan Nolan, he knows a lot too. So there's a reason why people have international platforms. The local preacher. Our local preacher can't even bother to show up most of the time. I think at least a good part of the time for his Saturday sermons, he always has a substitute. No, I'm sorry. It's like you should have given somebody else that role. If you didn't want the job, if you just wanted to be the Sunday morning preacher, then you should have given the Saturday preacher position to somebody else. But you just want to hang on to your little fiefdom, don't you? I can say that because I can. I'm not mentioning names. To the point where it's like anybody who's warming the bench, okay, you've been sitting there for a while, why don't you get up? A bench warmer would be like me if I participated in sports willingly, which I did not. Well, I was forced to play sports in gym class. It's like the bench warmer is somebody who's not very good. Oh, give them a chance, it doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. We've already got it won, so let that person who's not that good, it's like, just throw them a bone, like you throw a dog a bone. Here you go. What? You're not taking your position seriously. That's why you don't have the mega church that your brother has in Tennessee. Bro! I'm not mad. I'm passionate. So definitely Jesus talks to, the 7 churches in the book of Revelation. Again, I'm not a Bible scholar. He's like, I'm going to spew you out. You're neither hot or cold. If you go to Pastor Alan Nolan, Joseph Prince is really good at understanding the original language. Alan Nolan, he takes it to another level. I love them both. They're both wonderful. So wonderful. So I would follow in Tinashe Peters' footsteps, and I hope I haven't mispronounced that. Tinashe, because his parents were from Africa and they were really Christian, and Tinashe Peters said that he went through a period of rebellion where he questioned everything, and he went the opposite direction of what his parents wanted him to go, and he said to God, if you're real, prove it to me, show me that this isn't just fairy tales and nonsense. And he said that God did that for him, so he didn't even have a doubt. And he's a young person. To me, he's a young person on YouTube. And so wonderful, doing his job. He says he doesn't know what he is. He doesn't think he's a pastor. He doesn't think he's this or that. Yeah, I know. It's great. Wow. Wow. It's so hard to trust people, isn't it? When we go to church and our leaders are a bunch of bluster and appearance and piety on display, but it's so shallow, or it's so hollow, or it's so flimsy, or it's so powerless. Like in the last day, there's going to be a form of religion. It's not going to have power. Oh. So I understand if you're avoiding going to church. But let's not blame the pastors for being lackluster, for being wishy-washy. Because their parishioners are that way. The parishioners are saying that's what they want. I want somebody who doesn't rock the boat, who doesn't make waves, who doesn't seem too unusual. We're not supposed to be conformed after the pattern of this world. Don't you understand that? Friendship with the world is enmity with God. We're supposed to be different, not like, wacky just to be a wackadoodle. No, unless Feldick would say, no, don't just be wacky for the sake of being wacky. We're supposed to be different from the world, and yet Christians conform. Christians allow so many evils in our American society because they don't want to rock the boat, they don't want to make waves, they don't want to be different. Oh, how different things would be if more people had the courage to be different, and yet how you get ostracized, how you're punished, how you suffer for being different, for being passionate, for being sincere, for being pure of heart. For being outspoken, right? And don't be a crazy rebel just for the sake of being a rebel. What is this No Kings garbage? These people are vandalizing. They're causing acts of violence. They are not good people. So, when I was little, I'm going to end with this little anecdote. I really want you to share this with people. Please do. When I was a little girl, my parents they had divorced, and yet they were still in communication with each other. But, I don't blame them. They had parents who didn't have opulent financial means, but they were conservative and they managed to make it through the Great Depression and World War II, and they had a good life eventually. And my parents were the me generation. They were just so spoiled, came of age in the 50s, early 60s, just came of age, just had everything handed to them on a silver platter. Never had to fight a war, My dad was too old to fight in Vietnam, so he was the me generation. They were spoiled rotten. And they got into the swinging 60s, and they did all the sexual stuff, like freedom, liberation. They were so indulged. And then they didn't have the discipline to understand how to keep a marriage together, how to manage their finances, So here I am. Are you the pot calling the kettle black? I suppose I am the pot calling the kettle black, but at least I realize that I'm the pot. So when I was... even pots need to be saved by Jesus Christ. So I'm not smoking pot. Please stay away from that stuff. Please, folks. I mean, if you are, if it works for you, okay, but I'm not endorsing it. You haven't really seen evidence of that. So I'm very conservative in that regard, but that actually helps people and doesn't really destroy their brain, okay, and make them paranoid and psychotic. But anyway, eventually it will. I think so. Or something bad will happen. But anyway, I digress. When I was a little girl, I did make mixtapes, but my mother had all the albums, the 33 RPM albums, and some 45s, and then later on 8-track tapes, and then cassette tapes. And then we had CDs. Shut up. Can you get on with it? Okay, I'm trying. But I really loved Revolution. Was that from the White Album? So I recorded that on my little mixtape because I had a lot of time alone as a little girl out in the country. And I recorded it on my Sony recorder. It came before the Walkman. It was just like a gray Sony recorder with like an orange button. When you wanted to record, you remember it had like this gray rectangle, and then there'd be a little orange rectangle inside the gray rectangle, and you'd press them both, and then you knew you were recording. So I love that song, Revolution. It had the fuzzy guitar. It had the distortion with the volume and everything, and I used to listen to that. Like, I would have to sometimes haul wood over from the wood pile to the house. It was like a half a mile walk or something. So I would listen to that song by the wood pile. And that's what we're seeing today. You say you want a revolution. I think it's a song against the crazy Marxism that's rearing its ugly head once again here. Rearing its Hydra head, once again, in America. I respect the Beatles. I think it was John Lennon who penned the song. So, I'm still the same little girl by the woodpile. Really, essentially, I am. I'm still that person who sees the ills of society. And my mom explained, you can comment about society. You can say something's wrong, but destroying everything is not the answer. It's preserving what's good and asking God, please, would you help this person to see their problems? Because you've been so gracious to me. You've been so merciful. It's not just destroying everything that's the answer. It's not the destruction of a marriage or a relationship or a company or country that is the answer. Prayer is the go-to mechanism this Easter. Thank you for listening. Adios.